Cliff Hardin's wonderful UU composer Cliff from our hymnal. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
Barbara, that's a lovely way to start our time together. Welcome, everyone. I'm Aline King, a joyful young person in a mature woman's cloak. I have red glasses and long brown hair and a white blouse and a blue sea scarf on today. And I'm glad that you're here and joining us in person or on Zoom. Summit is a liberal religious community bound together by shared principles drawn from world religions, humanist teachings, nature and science, philosophy, and personal practices. We aspire to be a religion of love and inclusion. The mission of Summit is to commit ourselves to building a more compassionate, just, and sustainable world. If you're new to Summit or Unitarian Universalism and like to know more about us, we invite you to go to our website, summituuf.org. So thank you again on this lovely day. It's good to be cool together inside. And so we have some short announcements. Let's see, shall we start with Jenny?
Good. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I wanted to call your attention to the little insert in your service today about upcoming events. I mean, in particular, I'm proud and pleased to announce the Mark Montijo Lenny Bowl concert. Mark Montijo is someone I've known since high school, and he's been a brilliant singer-songwriter as long as I've known him, and now at, 70-something, he's having some real success with his music, and his latest album was nominated for San Diego Music Awards for Best Locally Produced Album. He's got beautiful lyrics, very topical and very you, I suppose you could say, and brilliant music. So I encourage you all to join us next Friday at 7 o'clock. Doors open at 6:30. We suggest $20 donation, and the rest of the information is on the website. Thank you.
Thank you. Al?
Good morning. Yeah, so I'm Al Mork, co-chair of the Social Justice and Action Committee, and I want to invite you all to, we're having our monthly meeting at noon today in the library, and you're all welcome to attend and see what's going on. Secondly, I want to give you a heads up about June 14th. This is a big nationwide rally and march titled No Kings, and so it's kind of happy to be at the same time when Trump, who thinks he's our king, is having at his birthday, having a big military so just like Hitler used to do. Scary. Yeah.
And Shannon has something for us too.
Good morning. My name is Shannon Allen. I'm one of the co-chairs for the auction. The auction is coming up November 8th. It's a big party for us to have a fun time, bid on things, and fundraise for our facility. I'm looking for a few giants or dwarfs to help with the formal process of collecting business donations, which involves letter mailing, follow-up, and in-person requests. Many businesses are converting to an online form now or an online system, so you can be dozy, dopey, sneezy, and still help with the online portion. Please feel free to reach out to me or Debbie to inquire. And this year we'll be taking stamp donations to help with the letter mailings. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It's always exciting to see how much is always going on. You have to carefully choose. So I would like to tell you about the land acknowledgement. I was reading about our beautiful Kumeyaay friends who use song to tell their stories to each other. So we acknowledge that our fellowship resides on unceded Kumeyaay land. They've lived here for more than 10,000 years, and it is their home today. We recognize the abusive history of colonization and how the border cut families in half in Mexico and in California when the border came. And we're mindful of our duty to responsibly act from our position of privilege. Now I would like to invite Scott Seaburst to light the chalice. We Prepare for the Future by Robin Gray. By the light of this chalice, we prepare for the future. We prepare ourselves for the times of triumph and times of trial that might come. We prepare ourselves to be present to one another with loving hearts, even in the most difficult of times. We prepare ourselves to make the connections that will lift us out of isolation and prepare the path of justice and equality. And now Duncan will lead us in a hymn. Oh, I thought you were going to do that. Sorry. Together, be the spirit of this fellowship. May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. And now Duncan will come forth.
All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to be singing hymn number 347, Gather in Spirit in the Gray Hymnal. The Spirit harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather the sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined. With body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion, and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that. Aline, you got a version of the order of service that did not have those two elements in it. That was my fault. Good morning, everyone. I am the Reverend Casey Marie Pandell. It is my pleasure and delight to be the minister here at Summit Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you are here in person or watching at home on Zoom or YouTube, whether it is your first visit or your 5,000th visit, you are whole, you are holy, you are loved, and you are so welcome here. I am a 35-year-old woman with shoulder-length-ish, purple and pink-ish hair, wearing a black dress with a purple stole and black shoes and a belt. And our reading today comes from Martha Durkee Newman, entitled Hard, Brave Choices. Will considered what to do. When he chose one way out of many, all the ways you don't take are snuffed out like candles, as if they had never existed. At the moment, all of Will's choices existed at once. But to keep them all in existence meant doing nothing. He had to choose, after all. That's from The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. And Martha Durkee Newman says, when I was a youth, the young adult fantasy series by Philip Pullman, His Dark Materials, was an important source of spiritual guidance for me. Something I love about being a Unitarian Universalist is drawing sacred texts from places such as the shelves of a middle school library. In the final book of the series, one of the young protagonists has a decision to make, upon which possibly the fate of our world and the next world hangs. Before he decides, he evaluates his options as if they are lit candles before him. This short passage returned to me recently when I was faced with a hard, brave choice. I saw all of my options in front of me as lit candles, waiting there for me, representing different things, different paths, all looking particularly enticing and bright and shiny and glittery and some maybe a little bit frightening, and all of them on fire. Before I chose, when all my options were still in existence, I felt attached to all of those candles. I didn't want to choose and snuff out all my other options. Eventually, I made my choice, but I still grieved the candles I had blown out. This is a year in which hard, brave choices will be required of all of us. Our world is changing and so much is in flux. Increasingly, we are faced with questions and decisions about our money, our time, our place in history, how we act, how we don't act, what matters, what we give our attention to, what kind of world we are building. We cannot afford to linger in front of all the candles aflame in front of us. Will had to choose, after all. It takes courage to blow out the candles of the roads that we will not travel. But in this moment, our task is to find the courage and lift it up. Lucky for us that we have each other. We do not have to do this alone. And on the other side of that decision, we can travel forward together with our one remaining candle to light the way. So come find me. Travel alongside me. Bring me your courage, because Lord knows I do not have enough of my own. Together, we can blow out the candles of the roads not taken, and then we can go forward side by side. Spirit of discernment, be with us as we make the hard, brave choices that lie in front of us right now. Help us to know that when we lean on each other, our shared courage infinitely grows, and we can move alongside one another into the world to come. Welcome to worship. And our joys and concerns portion of our service give us the opportunity to hold the big things in our lives that are too heavy to hold alone or too joyous to keep to ourselves. Your joys and concerns can be texted or emailed to myself or our worship chair, Stacy Sasaki, throughout the week, although for the next couple weeks, just send them to me, please. And we'll get to that in a second. And whether you decide to share a joy or concern aloud, all are welcome to light a candle over on our chancel, just off of our chancel. So first, we want to honor that today is Mother's Day. So thank you to all of our mothers and mothering folk. We also know that Mother's Day can be a tender time for people, whether you have wanted to be a mother or maybe feel like you were a mother and no longer were. If you have a tense relationship with your mother or your mother has passed, we hold all of the different complex parts of our relationships with our mothers, but we know that there are always mothering people with whom we can lean into, and we thank those who are willing to herald that job for all of the work they do together. Stacy and Glenn Sasaki share a joy that they are celebrating Glenn's retirement by going on the trip of a lifetime, a 5-week cruise through Asia. We will miss all of our Soof family, but we leave next Saturday. So send those joys and concerns to me. Glenn, Stacy, I hope you have a brilliant time, and we cannot wait to hear about it when you get back. Aline King shares a concern and asks for healing prayers for her partner, Ward. Aline, we hold you and Ward in our hearts. Mary's going to come up in just a second. Why don't you come up in first? Hold on. It's a longer story. So.
I have a joy to share. Is this on? Okay, turn the mic. Okay, I have a joy to share. I got a letter from Boise from Janice Spring. Some of you might remember Janice Spring from a while ago, and her two daughters, Gwendolyn, the little one who was 2 when I started here, just graduated from high school, and she's going to go to Western Washington University and plans on studying urban planning and sustainability. UU influence. And then Eleanor Spring, her oldest, just graduated the highest honors from Boise State with a Bachelor of Arts in French and Creative Writing. And she plans to pursue a master's in poetry and poetics at University of Maine this fall. So she's going to go to Maine, which is very cool. So there's an update on 2 of our kids. They're no longer kids.
We love getting to hear about them, about all of the things that our youth do when they leave this fertile earth that we have helped shape for them. And lastly, there's one thing I want to share with you. It's a joy and a little bit overwhelming at the same time. I'm going to preface this by saying I promise I'm not going anywhere. A few of you I've told this to, but I was kind of not sure if I could say yes and commit, and we decided we were going to say yes and to Spirit. A few weeks ago, I was accepted into the Doctoral of Ministry program at Wesley Theological Seminary in DC. So I will be starting in 6 weeks when I go to Cambridge for a week. And I mean Cambridge, England, not Cambridge, Massachusetts. So that means our summer is going to be a little different because I'll actually be here for more of the summer than I thought I would because there's a few travel components. So I just wanted to share with you all that apparently I needed to continue going to school while I was working with you all, but this is another portion of getting to do this work with you all. The point of this doctoral degree is to do it while you're working full-time in a ministerial context. So everything that I do with you goes towards my doctoral learning, and all of that doctoral learning comes back to you all. So the hope is, in the next few years, Reverend Doctor. So I just wanted to share that all with you. Thank you. And I appreciate your patience in advance. I have no idea what a thesis is supposed to look like, but we'll find out. We know that not all joys and concerns here are shared aloud today, whether spoken or unspoken. We hold you in our hearts. Amen. And I would like to invite Mary back to the pulpit.
Good morning. Good morning. Today I'm wearing a green dress that looks like it's got manzanilla poppies on it. And 5'7", glasses, brown hair, brown, graying red hair, as I always say. But I wanted to talk to you guys about Mother's Day. So now that we know there's many complicated feelings around Mother's Day, and some people celebrate and others don't. And it seems simple, it's complicated, and that's okay. Did you know that Mother's Day began as a way to better the health of women and babies? It was also a protest to end the Civil War and promote peace. And finally, it became a day to honor mothers and one of the biggest commercial holidays in the United States. So Anne Reed Jarvis, known as Mother Jarvis, was a young Appalachian homemaker who taught Sunday school lessons. She was a lifelong activist who in the mid-1800s had organized Mother's Day work clubs in West Virginia to combat unsanitary living conditions, because nobody had had any training on how to keep newborn babies and mothers who are recovering, how to keep them healthy. So they pooled their information together in these Mother's Day work clubs. So Reed Jarvis was concerned about the high infant mortality rate, especially pervasive in Appalachia, and wanted to educate and help mothers who needed it the most. Now, in 1870, nearly 40 years before Mother's Day became this U.S. holiday, Julia Ward Howe, who was an American abolitionist, someone who worked to free enslaved people, she was a feminist, a poet, a social justice advocate, and a Unitarian. She issued her inspired Mother's Day proclamation. Now, she was an activist during the Civil War, and around 1870, she called for a Mother's Day of Peace, dedicated to the celebration of peace and the eradication of war. She shared her Mother's Day proclamation from 1870, and Howe felt that mothers should gather to prevent the cruelty of war and the waste of life, since mothers of mankind alone bear and know the cost. If you want to look for the Mother's Day Proclamation of Peace by Julia Ward Howe, it's available online, and it's much more in-depth than that. But she envisioned a daily life where women from all over the world could meet to discuss how and what they could do to achieve world peace. I hope it happens someday. And then Anne M. Jarvis, who was the daughter of Mother Jarvis, the Appalachian, after her mother died in 1905, she wished to memorialize her mother's life and started a campaign for a national day to honor all mothers. Quote, "I hope and pray that someone sometime will found a memorial Mother's Day commemorating for her for the matchless service she renders to humanity in every field of life." And Anne continues, "She's entitled to it." And that is the origin of today's Mother's Day. It's, like I said, a big commercial day. Now, there's also Mama's Day, and I've talked about this before, because not all who mother felt or feel included in the current Mother's Day. So Mama's Day was created in 2011, and for over almost 14 years, Mother's Day has celebrated the mamas in our lives, biological and chosen, adoptive and foster, queer, trans, nearby and far, for everything that they do for us and our communities, all mother. So in honor of this, we're going to use our imagination in our each day to create a beautiful peace banner that we can hang here in the church, in the fellowship, and that will hopefully inspire healing and hope for everyone who sees it. So I like to think of Mother's Day as Mother's Day of Peace, because that really settles well with me. So we are going to be back there putting our handprints on a banner. So if you want to come back and see it later, you can. But let's sing our children's song, and I'm going to go that way to gather up everybody, give the parents a break. All right. One.
find it. We'll catch up. We'll do.
Come on, Mama.
I got a lot of stuff in here, sorry.
Probably toward the front, because it's one of the last ones.
I don't know. Oh, here it is. Okay, send it.
In the back.
Okay, thank you.
Everything passes and becomes anew, a season cycle and a time. Mindful of the treasures that you're moving through. Behold them and then let them fly. Everything. Trust the unfolding, try not to cling. Heart wide open to receive. Be mindful of the memories and then release. Remember them, then give them wings. Everything passes and becomes anew. Karakosa. Everything.
I had the pleasure of hearing that on Wednesday because I was here to watch a rehearsal. And anybody who likes to sing and is not joining the choir, you're missing out. It was a lot of fun, and I wasn't even singing. Please join me for a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection as I read words from Julian Jamaica Soto entitled, "We Hold Hope Close." In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath the foundation of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater together than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream, and by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home. Amen. So we use a little something called Soul Matters when we are doing our services. Mary uses them for the kiddos. We use it for our worship team, or rather I use it, and I keep forgetting that I should probably send it to the worship team so you all can use it as well. Sorry. We'll work on that, Stacy. Mostly what I use it for, more than anything, is finding a couple of our readings. I use it for our covenant groups as well. And they have a section called Sermon Seeds, and it gives some of our ministers the opportunity to think outside the box for what we want to preach on. And that's how we got today's sermon, was from one of those sermon seeds. You've heard me talk about Adrienne Marie Brown like 12,000 times this year because I just adore her, and I think the way she thinks and the things that she wants to bring to the world are really exciting and really important. And she thinks in a way that I don't think. So it always gives me the opportunity to find new ways and new perspectives to do things. So if you take a look at your order of service, if you've got it up at home, you can see it as well. There is a quote from her that says, I actually have it right here so I can just read it. See, I knew there was a reason I grabbed it. Science fiction is simply a way to practice the future together. I suspect that's what many of you are up to, practicing futures together, practicing justice together, living into new stories. It is our right and responsibility to create a new world. What the heck is practicing the future together? How are we supposed to practice something that hasn't happened yet? I thought to myself, what an odd thing to say. And then I thought about all the times when I was growing up that I would have those big fantasy worlds that I would create in my head, all of the wonderful things I wanted to see happen in my life. And I thought about all the times that I still do that now. Sometimes that's actually preparing for Sunday's sermon. Sometimes that's thinking about what might happen if a protest goes south. Sometimes that's thinking about a situation that's come up in the congregation that I don't know what to do with yet. I thought to myself, oh, I guess we do practice the future a lot when we dream, when we wonder, when we're curious. But I thought it was really interesting that she talked about sci-fi. Now, I'll admit, I'm not a big sci-fi person. About the only sci-fi I care about is the occasional Twilight Zone marathon, which, if you did not know, Rod Serling is one of ours. Rod Serling was a Unitarian. Haha. So maybe there's something about science fiction and Unitarianism. Hold on. But I admit that science fiction is not something I've ever really given much thought to. But Adrienne Marie Brown leans a lot into Octavia Butler's vision of science fiction, which is interesting because I mentioned to someone the other day what I was preaching on, and someone heard me and said, oh, who are you reading? And when I said Octavia Butler, that ended the conversation, and that person did not have anything else to say. So I'm a little curious about that. But I also made the mistake of going to Octavia Butler's website and seeing what I should read first, and while Kindred is amazing, was not terribly helpful for planning for the future with this sermon. I should have started with the parable series, but I digress. So this idea of practicing the future together, as far as sci-fi went, I always thought about Star Trek. Star Trek being the best of what we can do, right? And then you think about Star Wars, and Star Wars is sometimes the worst of what we can do. And that's when it started to make sense what she meant about practicing for the future. When we're thinking these big, big ideas that we have together, but they don't fit in the context of right now. And I started thinking about what that meant, how we could turn something that felt so far away, a galaxy far, far away, and make it something relevant for now. And I started thinking about it as solving a problem. If you can take a problem that you have and put it in a context that's so far removed from yours, and you can still find an answer to it, haven't you sort of practiced the future and decided that, oh, maybe that can actually happen? So Adrienne Marie Brown has a couple notes about what practicing the future means to her. And I would have tried to remember them all, but I wanted to do it justice. So here's how Adrienne Marie Brown describes what practicing the future entails, what we can do right now that's not just writing a novel, which is great if you can do that, but She says that we need to envision the future that we want. That's the starting point. Doesn't matter how scary or confusing or wild things sound here, what can we dream up together? Once we've envisioned that future, we need to align our actions with that vision. So what are we doing right here today to help make that vision possible? And when we have that vision, we embody it. We use honesty. We set boundaries. We challenge our beliefs. And most importantly, we examine everything, ourselves, our relationships, and the world around us. All of that information comes together to help us start to build the foundations to create those worlds. But envisioning isn't enough. We have to practice what we want to see happen. Someone told me once, well, every time you think that you do the thing that you think everybody needs to do and nobody else does it, isn't it a little bonkers to do that and expect it to change? No, because we have to practice the things that we want to see. And when we're practicing those things, Adrienne Marie Brown says that we need to be and embody the change we want to see. So it's not just enough to build the world in our heads, but start from the ground up with the work that we need to do inside and outside to help make that vision a reality. And most importantly, we have to be able to adapt. We know the world that we want is not going to be easy. It's not as easy as snapping your fingers. If it was, I would do that, and we wouldn't have to have this conversation at all. We have to be willing to evolve. When we challenge our perceptions, when we challenge the world around us, we have to be able to readjust and grow and change, even if it's not where we want to go just yet. And when we're adapting and when we're evolving, that gives us the opportunity to spark our imaginations and our creativity and to actually create the world we want to see. So, envision the future, align our actions with the vision, embody that vision in everything we do. Practice what we want to see happening, be willing to adapt, evolve, and create. And that's what Adrienne Marie Brown's whole Emergent strategy is about. How we do that work in ways that we've never imagined before. So I think when she talks about using sci-fi as a way to practice for the future, it was a little hard for me because it felt so far away, because all I kept thinking was space. And space is not going to help us right now. But the way, as I was reading Kindred, which if you haven't read Kindred is about a woman from the 70s who time travels back to the antebellum South. She's a black woman in a relationship with a white man. She keeps time traveling back to the South. I will leave it at that. That didn't seem particularly helpful as sci-fi practicing for the future. But what she does is she finds the tools to be resilient in that position, a position she never asked to be in, a position that was very difficult. She starts to be and embody the change that she wants to see. And then I could see that through line that Adrienne Marie Brown was talking about, how we can envision a better future even in the difficulties that we're already in. So I wondered a little bit how we could do that together. I have homework for you today. If you are at home, you should have received a digital copy of something called a talent survey. If you're in the sanctuary, you should have one, but you're welcome to fill it out online. Please get that now. So the board and I have been envisioning a lot this year what we want Summit to keep looking like. And the board goes and talks to all of you, and we get all of those ideas as well. None of you have pens, do you? It's just occurred to me that we haven't given you pens. Give me 1 second, I'll get some for you. So this is our opportunity to really take a look at what we have now that we can embody in this room together for those of you at home. The point of the talent survey is to give us the opportunity to see what skills you have, what things you're interested in, and all that good stuff in between. So we know where you want to grow and envision a new future for yourself. and where also you have the skills to help Summit grow and envision a different, thank you, Mark, a different future for Summit as well. I know it doesn't sound terribly exciting. Please feel free to talk to each other while you do this. I'm going to give you about 5 or so minutes. If it doesn't get done while we're in the service, that's fine. We can collect them later. But this is giving you all the opportunity to concretely start practicing the future together. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You're not getting graded. If there's something you want to try that you've never tried it before, this is the way to tell us that you want to do it. If there's a skill that you've hidden away from us because you don't feel like you want to share it just yet, that's okay. If you have questions about anything, let's talk about it. But we're going to give you guys about 5 or so minutes. I'll ring the bell when it's done. Go ahead and think about what practicing the future with Summit might look like. No, seriously, you all can talk to each other. It's fine. Back in state testing. The online survey, so if you've already filled it out online, you don't have to fill it out again. probably not totally done. Yes, ma'am. If you're not done with your talent survey yet, don't worry about it. You can finish it while we're at the salon today. But I just wanted to give you all the opportunity to start imagining that future together. And it was completely accidental that I picked concerning hobbits, but a little bit kind of like kismet, because that's what that whole series is about, is imagining a better future together and the hard work, even when it seems hopeless, that we have to do to make a better world happen. So thanks, Spirit. That was accidental. So go ahead and take some more time with those if you need it. If you're done, you can just leave it on your seats and I'll come collect them at the end of the service. But it's just an idea to start us thinking about what imagining a better future together as Summit looks like. So we can start finding those pieces, especially for our new folks, because there's a lot of you that haven't been able to find a way to get connected yet. Or maybe you're someone who's wanted to get reconnected for a long time and you haven't found your place. This is how we start doing it. This is how we start coming here for more than just sitting together on a Sunday. This is how we're starting to do this work together. We heard Al talk about the No Kings March coming up in a few weeks. If you can't march, what can you do? This is how we start answering those questions. And not just for us together, but as we start going out, mixing in with Reverend Jamie and Reverend Andreas's Lutheran and Methodist communities. As we're starting to build this community together, this is how we see where all of the cogs are going to start to fit in. I know this wasn't the most spiritual of sermons today, but sometimes we need to remember that that practical work is part of the spiritual growth that we have to do. And with that, again, not the most spiritual ending, we have a hymn next, do we not, Duncan? No, it's the offertory next. Ha ha ha. So that's what happens when I don't have my script in front of me. Aline, thank you.
Thank you, Casey. It's always great to know that we can do so much together. So your Sunday morning offering is a gift that provides us with the financial resources to have this wonderful air conditioning on a hot day. It helps us to do so many things together to build a better world. The smallest gift is welcome. For those of you on Zoom, the link can be found in the chat box, and please select the Sunday plate option to allocate your donation to the appropriate account. Thank you again for your donations and your pledges that help this keep on going. So now we have.
Grandmother's Minuet.
So you can dance as you put your money in as the ushers come forward to take the offering.
This is Grandmother's Minuet by Edvard Grieg, and I am offering this for Mother's Day because some of us are grandmothers, but we all had at least 2 grandmothers. And I want you to notice that this is the minuet is very much of a throwback dance that he, when he wrote this in the, late 1800s, it would have been, maybe his great grandmother dancing the minuet. But this is a really lively modern minuet. This is not a stuffy grandmother. This grandmother is with it.
Now, Duncan will lead us in our closing hymn.
All right, please rise and stand as you're willing and able. In mind, body, or spirit, we're going to be singing hymn number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. In the I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like a raindrops, I've got tears like raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like a raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops, I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
That hymn. It occurred to me after we started the talent survey that there is a group of people who are actually really good at practicing the future. That's literally what moms do whenever they look at their kids. So if you have some trouble practicing the future, go find your favorite mom and ask her what that's been like, watching the children she helped raise practice their futures together. We know when we come together on a Sunday here in this room or at home on Zoom or YouTube, it gives us the chance to practice the future together, because this is a place where we as Unitarian Universalists get to live into our principles, and those are all about making the world a place that we can practice a better future together. Because if we're not practicing a better future here, how can we expect a better one out there? And that's pretty big for Unitarian Universalists, how we live into the future we want to see today. So when you're here on a Sunday, remember this is just another opportunity to practice the future together, practice it alone throughout the week, and know that we are in a space where we are encouraged to do that together every single week. And we deserve it, because we want to see something better. And we are the dreamers of dreams, right? We're the ones who can make this happen. Amen, shalom, salam, ashe, namaste, and blessed be. Go now in peace. May the light within you be a blessing to the world.
So we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So we'll take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back for our community discussion. And before we take the break, we'll do our closing song. And so would you rise and make our tremendous huge circle and sing together?